He was the Rifleman, cut from denim and resolve, his steely gaze narrowing at outlaws and outcasts alike on screens across America. For decades, fans have assumed they knew Chuck Connors, the former baseball and basketball pro who switched sports fields for frontier towns, who traded foul lines for dusty trails, and who embodied the stoic lawman Walter Bo Sutton with unwavering grit. Yet nothing prepared anyone for what surfaced when handlers of Connors's Laguna Beach estate discovered a concealed basement room accessed through a secret panel behind a built-in gun rack. Inside, they found journals, film cans, and personal artifacts so revealing they've rewritten not only Connors's off-screen story, but our understanding of Hollywood's golden age. The discovery occurred 6 months ago during routine estate maintenance. Widow Victoria Connors asked conservators to review the cabin-style reading room, where Chuck spent evenings leafing through Western pulp novels and drafting scripts. Archivist Linda Morales, scanning for moisture damage behind wooden paneling, spotted an irregular latch disguised as part of the wall molding. A firm press and a click later revealed a narrow staircase leading into an insulated vault, a room meant to be hidden even from trusted staff. That concealed chamber housed 30 leather-bound journals dating from 1954 through 1991, alongside over 50 unmarked film reels and stacks of letters addressed to old friend, my dearest T, and sincerest confidences. The journals themselves breathe with Connors's unfiltered voice. In a late 1950s entry, he wrote of exhaustion after 12-hour days in the saddle. The make-believe gun smoke stings my eyes, yet real dread creeps in when I dismount and hear silence. He confessed that while he aimed his Winchester rifle at villainous phantoms, he grappled privately with pangs of imposter syndrome, felt keenly after his transition from professional sports to acting. The pen stroke grew bolder in a mid-1960s passage, revealing that Connors had requested script rewrites to soften his character's ruthless edge, fearing audiences might mistake Sutton's justice for cruelty. He scribbled in the margins, "A hero must reflect grace, even when firing last and fastest." Equally arresting were the unmarked film cans. Among them lay early audition tapes for Gomer Pyle, USMC, featuring Connors in a comic turn so different it startled producers who knew him only as the Rifleman. He tried fizzy one-liners and exuberant ham and eggs gestures, capering in a Marine uniform to elicit outright laughter. While NBC ultimately cast Jim Nabors, Connors preserved the outtakes here, bound for his private vault, suggesting he wrestled with ego bruises unseen by the public. Other reels revealed footage he shot himself during location hunts, warily framed panoramic takes of Monument Valley, doctored to test dynamic camera angles and juxtapositions of hero and horizon. Even more astonishing was the filing cabinet tucked beneath a steel workbench. Drawers contained unopened letters addressed to my dearest T, later identified as Talitha Pole, the British actress with whom Connors famously had a brief, intense affair in 1963. The letters spill over with affectionate worry, confessions of longing on cross-country tours, and tardy apologies for stifled phone calls. In one heartbreaking note, he wrote, "I fear the sooty dawn of fame has scorched our tender bond. Forgive my absence, and know that every applause echoes my loneliness." Despite public insistence that Connors remained celibate and devoted only to his craft, these letters sketch a more vulnerable man torn between duties and desires. Perhaps the most sensitive items were the wills and codicils he tucked away in a locked steel box. In addition to the well-known will benefiting his wife and children, there lay two alternative codicils, one designating a substantial trust for on-set stunt coordinators, an often overlooked brotherhood in Connors's eyes, and another earmarking royalties to fund youth sports programs in underprivileged Los Angeles neighborhoods. This revelation cast Connors not just as a screen hero, but as a private philanthropist whose generosity rivaled his on-set heroism. Friends recalled him quietly slipping checks to struggling families and insisting that his Riders League contribute to community baseball clinics long after cameras stopped rolling. News of these hidden troves spread like wildfire. Social media aficionados dissected scans of journal excerpts, speculating on the Rifleman's true feelings about fame and masculinity. Western buffs pored over location test footage, tracing subtle camera movements that reveal sides of Monument Valley never spotlighted in final cuts. Tabloid headlines vacillated between praise for Connors's unheralded generosity and sensationalist teasing of clandestine romances. Meanwhile, the Connors estate announced plans for a traveling exhibit titled Beyond the Rifle, the hidden chronicle of Chuck Connors, promising fans a chance to encounter the man beyond his on-screen silhouette. These initial revelations represent only the opening salvo in a story decades in the making that will explore the industry's uproar over Connors's covert stunt coordinator trust, the ethical debates it ignited, and how Hollywood power brokers maneuvered behind closed doors to influence the exhibit's narrative. Stay tuned as we unearth more of the Rifleman's secrets. Stories that prove even the toughest Western lawman had shadows he kept from every camera lens. The moment news broke that Chuck Connors had secretly endowed a trust for stunt coordinators, Hollywood's tightest circles trembled with astonishment and indignation. Agents and studio chiefs convened in closed-door conference rooms, exchanging whispered concerns about employee loyalty, rising production costs, and the precedent of honoring behind-the-camera talent at the expense of A-list salaries. Major studios feared that fulfilling Connors's covert wishes could obligate them to renegotiate long-settled deals, potentially undermining decades of profit-sharing agreements. One veteran exec mused, off the record, if every star left behind a stunt trust, insurance premiums would skyrocket overnight. Meanwhile, a heated ethical debate ignited in trades like Variety and The Hollywood Reporter. Columnists dissected the stunt community trust as both an act of noble recognition and a canny maneuver to bolster Connors's posthumous reputation among grassroots collaborators. Some saw it as overdue validation for stunt performers, chained for years to perilous sets and underappreciated artistry. Others argued it blurred lines between genuine generosity and strategic PR, warning that Connors's gesture, however thoughtful, might pressure studios into mandatory stunt benefits they could ill afford. Letters to the editor poured in. Stunt doubles and coordinators celebrated their hero's gesture, while studio accountants lamented the slippery slope of legacy-driven compensation. Behind the scenes, Hollywood power brokers raced to influence how Connors's secrets would be presented in the upcoming exhibit. Private meetings between the Connors Estate Foundation and top curators glowed with urgency. Should the stunt trust be showcased in a glass case with a brass plaque or discreetly mentioned in an archival footnote? Some foundation advisors, worried about diluting the Rifleman's clean-cut image, lobbied for omitting the trust entirely, arguing that audiences only wanted the macho hero they grew up with. Others, including preservationist Linda Morales, insisted that every artifact deserved context, declaring, "We can't sanitize his legacy, we must show the man he truly was." Inside studio hallways, conversations turned strategic. One prominent producer reportedly offered to underwrite the exhibit's costs in exchange for editing out any references to Connors's philanthropic stunt crew bequests. Meanwhile, rival networks weighed the value of exclusive coverage. A live broadcast of the exhibit opening could draw millions. But what if viewers objected to a Hollywood whitewashing? Editorial boards debated taglines. Connors cared for the crew versus Rifleman's secret generosity, testing which angle would yield the highest ratings without. Provoking backlash. The stakes felt deceptively small, yet unmistakably high. Amid the corporate wrangling, the stunt community celebrated privately. Coordinators who risked necks on silver screens felt vindicated as families shared tearful phone calls after learning of Connors's hidden trust. A clandestine group chat buzzed with emojis and thank you messages as one veteran doubled proclaimed, "He saw us, and that means everything." Yet they also braced for the pushback. Some coordinators feared speaking out, worried it might jeopardize future work if studios felt guilt-tripped. Their union reps quietly drafted statements praising Connors's vision, hoping to nudge the estate foundation to honor his wishes fully, without succumbing to external pressures. Fans, too, waded into the fray. Western genre enthusiasts, accustomed to touting Connors's unwavering cowboy ethos, found themselves divided. Social media timelines aflame with comment threads. Was Connors's stunt trust a righteous cause or an embarrassment to the Rifleman brand? Some fan groups demanded a public apology from studios if they concealed the truth, while others urged respect for Connors's privacy, saying, "Give the man a break, he's gone." Hashtags like #HonorChuck and #Keep Rifleman purified for dominance, each side armed with emotional testimonies drawn from Connors' secret journals. The Connors Estate Foundation released a measured statement in response to the swirl of speculation. They acknowledged the discovery of the stunt coordinator trust and promised transparency in its administration. Yet they also appealed for time to deliberate how best to integrate the story into the exhibit narrative. The statement's tone struck a precise balance, honoring Connors' generosity without alienating studio partners or unsettling fans who clung to his familiar lawman image. Social feeds lit up with analysis. Some praised the prudent response, others scoffed at its cautious vagueness. As these power plays unfolded, the exhibit's lead curator convened a design summit. Journals, letters, relic film reels, and legal documents would be arrayed across 6 thematic stations, one specifically titled Behind the Badge, Connors' Brotherhood. Here, visitors might encounter a touchscreen interface now. As the curator and Estate Foundation prepare for a decisive board vote, anticipation builds. Will audiences witness Chuck Connors' full truth or merely the sanitized legend? In Section 3, we'll delve into the exhibit's unveiling, capturing fan reactions, media frenzy, and fallout. Under a vaulted ceiling adorned with vintage saloon lanterns, the Beyond the Rifle exhibit finally swung open its hinged doors to an eager crowd. Lines of Saturday afternoon visitors stretched down the lawn of Chuck Connors' Laguna Beach retreat, cameras and smartphones at the ready. Television crews set up tripods beside the ranch entrance, broadcasting live the moment when Victoria Connors, flanked by the Estate Foundation's board, stepped forward to cut a ribbon fashioned from shotgun shell belts. A hush swept over the throng as she addressed the press. My husband believed in protecting those behind the camera as fiercely as he defended justice on screen. This exhibit reveals the man who valued kinship above legend. With that, floodlights illuminated the interior and stunned gasps echoed among attendees. Inside, each artifact commanded its own moment of shock or wonder. Visitors paused before leather-bound journals inscribed in Connors' steady cursive, tracing entries that confessed a hero's doubt and kindness. A glass case displayed unmarked film reels beside playback stations, allowing guests to witness test footage of Connors' comic audition for Gomer Pyle, USMC, his wide-eyed antics capturing a side of him few ever imagined. Heartfelt tears appeared at the Brotherhood station, where guests read about the hidden trust Connors established for stunt coordinators, a revelation that brought murmurs of pride from doubles who finally saw their craft honored. Yet not all reactions were celebratory. A cluster of die-hard Western fans staged a silent protest near the Letters of Longing archive, clutching replicas of Connors' rifle and chanting, "Keep the legend pure." They argued that audiences should remember Walter Bo Sutton, not the man behind the mask. Meanwhile, social media ignited. Hashtags like #TrueRifleman and #RiflemanUnmasked clashed in comment sections, each side citing journal quotes to bolster its stance. Industry commentators seized on the stunt trust revelation as a symbol. A legendary star finally honors unsung talents, proclaimed one trade press column, while another cautioned, "We risk forcing every estate to outbid one another." Television panel debates followed, featuring studio executives, stunt coordinators, and fan influencers hashing out whether Connors' final act would reshape contracts and insurance premiums across Hollywood. Local news crews interviewed stunt doubles who missed it up recounting silent checks Connors slipped them on set for medical bills. Their testimonials played alongside clips of him hurling curses at villains on screen, a juxtaposition so stark it left viewers breathless. Even late-night hosts quipped, "The Rifleman was packing more than a Winchester." Almost overnight, streaming numbers for The Rifleman surged as curious viewers revisited classic episodes. Podcast hosts dedicated deep dives to Connors' hidden world, journaling rituals, secret compartments, and the legend of Old Friend. Fans pooled online funds to produce a docu-series called Confidences in the Cave, promising even deeper exploration of the vault's contents. Meanwhile, the Connors estate's legal counsel prepared to finalize the stunt coordinator trust's bylaws, consulting labor unions and insurance experts to craft model agreements. Questions arose about eligibility criteria, payment schedules, and long-term sustainability. Some joked that the rifleman's compassion might spur new clauses in SAG contracts guaranteeing stunt performers lifetime pensions. At a studio screening, an executive reportedly asked, "Did we just witness a paradigm shift for every action genre?" Stunt circles whispered of a possible Connors Medal, honoring exceptional bravery and creativity behind the camera. Several fan conventions scheduled panels to explore the newly revealed material. At the annual Western Heritage Expo, attendees donned period attire to reenact Connors's celebrated lasso tricks before debating the ethics of unearthing private letters. Collectibles dealers hawked replica crates marked "Top Shelf," John's only, complete with facsimile documents and tiny stuntman figurines. Local theaters hosted marathon screenings of classic westerns, punctuated by live commentary referencing Connors's hidden journals. Cooking shows spontaneously joined the conversation, broadcasting surprise recipes handpicked from Connors's private vault. Amid this crescendo, film historians reminded everyone that uncovering such secrets was hardly unprecedented. Beckett's manuscripts, Chaplin's hidden scores, and Wilder's unproduced scripts all eventually emerged. Yet Connors's case felt uniquely poignant because his public persona was so meticulously crafted. The rifleman's stoicism, unwavering moral code, and effortless cool were suddenly reframed by his own doubts, yearnings, and quiet generosity. Viewers realized that every close-up and dramatic showdown once carried the weight of an actor who silently balanced myth-making with genuine empathy. Concludes, the exhibit's impact reverberates through Hollywood's sound stages, fan communities, and legal chambers alike. Chuck Connors' secrets remind us that even our most iconic heroes harbor undisclosed chapters, and that unveiling them can galvanize far more than mere headlines. It can reshape industries, spark grassroots movements, and redefine how we honor the unseen talent behind our favorite legends. In the months after Beyond the Rifle flung open its vault doors, the shockwaves from Chuck Connors' hidden chronicles transformed more than fan lore. Hollywood itself began to pivot around the truth he'd kept locked away. Studio chiefs recalculated budgets, adding line items for post-production safety enhancements as stunt coordinators pressed for new benefit clauses in their contracts. In boardrooms, one executive confided that Connors' sealed bequest to doubles gave them leverage we never imagined, prompting urgent talks between producers, guild negotiators, and insurance underwriters. Within weeks, pilot agreements emerged under which studios would fund a dedicated safety fund for every action series and film featuring high-risk stunts, a direct tribute to Connors' private trust. Echoes of Connors' empathy reverberated through the Screen Actors Guild, too. Leadership quietly circulated excerpts from his journals at union meetings, using his words to argue for expanded health coverage, retirement pensions, and mental wellness resources for those whose work often went uncredited. By year's end, members voted to adopt a Rifleman standard, obligating studios to guarantee crew support and counseling services at every production wrap. Industry insiders call it the Connors Clause, and they credit the Hidden Vault's revelations for turning what once seemed fringe concerns into mainstream contract talk. On the creative side, Connors' candid self-analysis inspired writers and directors to revisit decades of Western scripts with fresh eyes. Screenwriters formed think tanks to re-examine tropes of stoic masculinity, citing Connors' sidebar notes pleading for grace over ruthlessness. As a result, new television pilots emerged that married classic frontier action with characters grappling openly with self-doubt, guilt, and ethical complexity, echoes of the Rifleman's private entries in which he mulled his own moral code. One showrunner remarked, "We wanted to honor Chuck's heroism on screen while channeling his humanity off-screen, reflecting a shift from one-dimensional heroes to nuanced protagonists." Connors' philanthropic codicils also sparked a renaissance in community outreach. The youth sports trust he'd buried in his private safe became a beacon for underfunded athletic programs across Southern California. Little League fields once neglected now bear plaques reading, "In memory of Chuck Connors. Play with honor." And local mayors extol the Rifleman's commitment to giving children their rightful place in the game. Donors and foundations, moved by the story, have matched his initial gift, generating millions in additional funding for after-school coaching, equipment grants, and campus upgrades. Even Connors' unmarked film reels found new life. A coalition of preservationists secured grants to restore his personally shot Monument Valley test footage, digitizing it in 4K and making it accessible through an interactive online archive. Film students worldwide dive into those early camera experiments, studying framing, pacing, and lighting techniques that Connors tinkered with on weekends between productions. Professors at USC and NYU now assign modules built around his private edits, elevating a hitherto unknown body of work into the canon of hands-on cinematic craft. Local economies felt the impact, too. Tourism bureaus in Laguna Beach reported record visitation numbers as fans flocked to the Rifleman's former homestead, now transformed into the Connors Cultural Center. Guided tours sell out weeks in advance, and gift shops carry replicas of Connors' personal journals, stunt trust certificates, and miniature Winchester rifles, a nod to both his on-screen mythos and off-screen generosity. Restaurants nearby serve Bo's Brunch, a mashup of Midwestern waffles and cowboy sausage, to crowds who come to dine where Connors once entertained guests after screen tests. At film festivals from Telluride to Tokyo, panels titled Behind the Badge, From Screen Hero to Human Ally, examine Connors' dual legacy. Scholars debate whether his hidden vault marks a turning point in celebrity scholarship, where private diaries leap from archives to industry action. Veteran critics praise the transformation, noting that Connors' carefully concealed trust for the uncelebrated artisans of danger has become an enduring lesson in humility and solidarity. Meanwhile, fans remain vigilant for the next hidden clue. The Logan Place Ledger, now a digital subscription service, promises real-time alerts whenever conservators uncover a new artifact, a previously unseen stunt storyboard, an alternate ending to a lost pilot, or additional letters pinned to his secret confidants. Subscribers buzz with speculation, trading theories on online forums about what the Rifleman's vault might yield next. In that anticipation lies Connors' truest gift, a lifelong conversation between legend and human, daring us to look beyond the gun belt, into the heart of a man who treasured both his craft and the people who made it possible, in the wake of Beyond the Rifle. Chuck Connors' legacy has taken on new dimensions, reverberating through creative endeavors, policy debates, and community initiatives that extend far beyond Laguna Beach. Filmmakers inspired by his journals are now crafting projects that echo his private struggles and philanthropic spirit. At USC School of Cinematic Arts, a group of graduate students just unveiled their thesis short, Silenced Echoes, based directly on entries in Connors' 1967 journal. In it, a sheriff haunted by past mistakes seeks redemption through protecting the very crew members whose safety he once overlooked. The film premiered at the Los Angeles Film Festival to a standing ovation, with panelists citing Connors' own words, "A hero must reflect grace," as the project's beating heart. Meanwhile, a Chicago-based documentary crew has embarked on Rifleman's Road, a cross-country road trip that retraces Connors' filming locations while interviewing stunt performers, family members, and locals who still remember his spontaneous stops at roadside diners. Early footage shows emotional reunions. An 84-year-old stunt double recalls the time Connors personally guided him through a false sequence, insisting, "You've got to trust yourself, but I'll have your back." That moment, captured on handheld camera, has already gone viral, with viewers moved by Connors' off-screen mentorship as much as his on-screen bravado. Even the literary world has embraced Connors' unlocked vault. 2 anthologies are in the works. One, Letters to T, collects his passionate correspondence with Tala the Pole alongside essays on the challenges of love under the glare of fame. Another, Rifleman Reflections, juxtaposes journal passages with photographs of his hunting expeditions, revealing how solitude in nature offered Connors moments of quiet self-examination. Publishers report pre-orders in the tens of thousands, signaling that readers long to explore the Rifleman's private mind, a mind that drafted both scripts and love letters with equal fervor. The Connors stunt coordinator trust, once controversial, is now lauded as the blueprint for equitable on-set practices. SAG-AFTRA cites it as the inspiration behind a proposal to guarantee each production a safety and solidarity fund, equal to 1% of total budget, earmarked for crew member health care, retirement benefits, and mental health support. At the most recent Guild convention, stunt coordinators wore white leather jackets embroidered with the Rifleman emblem to honor Connors' hidden bequest. Delegates cheered as Guild President Nancy Reeves announced, "We ride into a new era of respect and protection, thanks to one man's courage to do right behind the scenes." Local communities, too, have embraced Connors' generosity. In East LA, the Youth Sports Trust he created now sponsors an all-girls softball league that provides uniforms, equipment, and travel stipends to underprivileged teams. Last month's Bo Sutton Cup saw over 20 teams compete in a packed municipal stadium, with Connors' grandson, John Connors III, presenting trophies while reading excerpts from his grandfather's letters about the importance of teamwork and perseverance. The league's commissioner remarked, "Chuck always said that a ball diamond is where character is forged. Now we see that promise fulfilled." Back at Laguna Beach, the Connors Cultural Center continues to evolve. A newly installed VR gallery, Sutton's Secret, allows visitors to navigate the hidden basement vault in immersive 360-degree detail. Patrons don headsets to step through the secret panel, descend the staircase, and handle virtual replicas of journals and film cans, complete with handwritten annotations from Connors' own hand. Feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, with educators praising the experience for making archival research accessible to younger audiences. Academia hasn't been left behind. A consortium of universities launched the Rifleman Archive Collective, an interdisciplinary network that shares digitized content, curatorial best practices, and ethical guidelines for handling private archives. A handbook titled Preserving Privacy, Sharing Legacy draws on lessons from Connors' estate, offering a model for balancing transparency with respect for confidentiality. Library science programs now include modules on secure compartment design and consent frameworks, inspired by the very panel concealed behind Connors' gun rack. Even Hollywood's development slates bear Connors' hidden influence. Producers busy at Paramount and Netflix have optioned a scripted miniseries adaptation of Connors' life, tentatively titled Sutton Unbound, with writers collaborating closely with Victoria Connors and John Connors III to ensure authenticity. Early casting rumors swirl. A rising TV star known for complex dramatic roles is in talks to portray Connors, capturing his rugged on-screen poise alongside the vulnerability revealed in private. If the project proceeds as planned, audiences will witness a nuanced portrayal of a man whose public legend and private kindness now stand in dynamic tension. As this renaissance unfolds, audiences and industry insiders alike recognize that Chuck Connors' secrets, once sealed behind a hidden staircase, have become a catalyst for renewal. His unvarnished journals, clandestine film experiments, and philanthropic codicils are no longer relics. They're active blueprints guiding news stories, policy reforms, and community uplift. We'll examine how Connors' posthumous narrative continues to evolve, from planned legislative proposals to guarantee stunt safety nationwide, to the enduring personal impact on those who walk through his hidden vault and discover the man beyond the legend. Now that the legend of Chuck Connors has transcended television screens and museum walls, his influence is shaping public policy in ways he never could have imagined. Earlier this year, a bipartisan legislative proposal known as the Connors Act was introduced to Congress, mandating comprehensive safety and benefit funds for stunt performers on any production that uses practical effects or live-action sequences. The bill draws directly from Connors' hidden codicil, requiring a percentage of production budgets to be set aside in escrow for stunt-related insurance, medical care, and retirement contributions. Its sponsors, one of whom is a former stunt double-turned-state senator, cite Connors' private bequest as the moral impetus for reform, arguing that no performer should risk life and limb without a guaranteed safety net. Congressional hearings have featured emotional testimonies from stunt artists who recall Connors personally advocating for their well-being during location shoots, lending the bill both dramatic weight and a powerful legacy narrative. Meanwhile, stunt unions nationwide have passed new bylaws referencing Connors' blueprint, ensuring that each film or television show schedules mandatory safety briefings, arranges on-set mental health support, and provides survivor benefits in the event of catastrophic injury. Industry insurers, once wary of rising financial liabilities, now cooperate with production companies to design tailored coverage plans that balance risk and responsibility. One specialized policy, nicknamed the Rifleman Rider, offers expedited claims for stunt performers who suffer accidents during scripted Western or action genres, an overt tribute to Connors's intransigent devotion to those who doubled for his own daring feats. Such changes signal that the Rifleman's off-screen compassion has now set an industry standard. At the Connors Cultural Center, the VR gallery, Sutton's Secret, quietly underwent its second major upgrade, inviting visitors to reenact the new safety protocol drills alongside virtual stunt doubles. The immersive simulation was co-developed with professional coordinators, blending Connors's own handwritten notes from the vault with real-time hazard assessment scenarios. Patrons can feel a subtle tension in the simulated world, aware that every misstep might have real consequences, mirroring the genuine stakes Connors acknowledged in his private journals. Early testimonials from educators suggest that this blend of entertainment and training could soon be incorporated into actual stunt safety curricula at film schools nationwide. The story of Sutton Unbound, the upcoming miniseries chronicling Connors's dual life, has also continued to evolve. Co-written by his grandson John Connors III and prominent screenwriters, the scripts now weave together the public archives, classic Rifleman episodes, sports career highlights, and the newly unearthed private material. Scenes recreate the secret staircase, the vault where Connors's vulnerabilities lay hidden, and spotlight the moment he drafted his trailblazing philanthropic trusts. Casting additions have emphasized actors who can embody both the imposing Western presence and the introspective humanity Connors revealed in his journals. When the series premieres next year on a major streaming platform, producers hope it will spark fresh conversation about legacy, leadership, and the enduring intersection of myth and reality. Supplementing these cultural projects is an oral history endeavor called Voices from the Vault, a collaborative initiative between the Connors Estate Foundation and university oral history departments. Stunt coordinators, family members, set carpenters, neighbors, and even local diner owners contribute recordings that amplify the man behind the Rifleman. Their accounts fill gaps left by his carefully curated public persona and enrich the letters and journals with voices of those whose lives he quietly touched. Plans are underway to publish a curated anthology of these testimonies alongside annotated transcriptions of Connors's writings, making the archive a living dialogue rather than a static display. Youth sports initiatives, too, flourish under Connors's concealed trust. The annual Bo Sutton Cup tournaments expanded this year into multiple regions, supported by local and national sponsors who matched Connors's original contributions. Coaches report that the grant funded not only uniforms and equipment, but also paid for mentorship programs that teach children leadership and conflict resolution, skills Connors sought to underline in his letters to his son. This holistic approach reflects the depth of his commitment to youth development, combining physical vigor with personal character building. As these ongoing campaigns demonstrate, Chuck Connors's buried secrets have become cornerstones for systemic change. What began as the unveiling of concealed journals and personal letters has blossomed into legislation, education, philanthropy, and story.